show has started.
It has officially started. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is fantastic. Evan, huge kudos for putting this together. Like, seriously, huge fucking kudos.
No, absolutely, man. I think we're live. I don't know.
Actually, I'll hit YouTube. Oh, hang on.
Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube, so I'm guessing that's
Blinded. It's streaming live.
We're live?
I think we're live.
Blinded.
All right.
Well, welcome to the shit show.
Yeah.
This is where shit happens.
Shit's not gonna happen that drunk we get.
I'm drinking Sprite, man. Zero sugar.
Serious?
Watching my weight. Yeah, I don't drink anymore. I can't do that anymore. I end up in jail.
Brooklyn Black Ops.
Nice.
The good stuff. This is the stuff. I think it's, I don't know what it is, like 13, 14, 15, 16% or something. You can stand the spoon up it and light does not emit from it. It's perfect. It's just good stuff.
All right. Well, this is shit show number 1. Man, it's good to see you guys. I was
you too.
I just got off I was IMing with Ryan. Just finished a San Diego ISC squared chapter meeting. Like 2 minutes.
I mean, I had a bunch of calls earlier today. I actually did one with David out of New York. He's got one of the chapters out in New York. Freaking awesome guy. We just kicked back and hung out for an hour. I was down there in January and did one live face to face, and then did one just now. I was joking. I'm like, look, I'm going to be at least somewhat civilized on this one because tonight I don't have to be. And he did ask me. He asked me. He was very nice. He was very civilized. He's like, so what's your take on the current situation? And after I think I just threatened to put the president and pretty much the entire cabinet and most of the Senate, cast them in concrete and throw them in the Mariana Trench. He's like, yeah, you do hold a bit of an opinion, don't you? Like, yeah, just a little one sometimes.
It's crazy times, man. And you know, the amount of disruption has been insane. I had a call today with one of the school groups I work with, and you could just tell that, you know, they're reeling from all this, trying to figure out what comes next, you know, and our industry just hasn't been doing the best job with approaching them or dealing with them. It's all kind of the crap that we hate, right? It's everything that we rant and rave about. It's the cash grab. It's the bullshit.
It's the school system. They can't pay as much money as everybody else. Why should we bother dealing with them? I mean, that's what pisses me off. It's that and like the small to medium business. It's like, oh, you know, they can't pay us as much or it's too much hassle. Basically, fuck them.
Right. Well, and nobody wants to do the work because it's the hard work. It's the fundamentals. It's not the sexy work. It's not I get to learn something new and machine learning and all this fancy bullshit that doesn't really help them if they can't even keep track of what assets they have. I mean, it's just, you know, this might be the shit show, but in all reality, that's the real shit show. Yeah,
it's back to the simple. I mean, I think we all talk about it, but it's like, and I think it's the point you hit. It's like, look, you know, the get the basics done, get the freaking defaults off, understand where your assets are, try to find out where the freaking data is. You know, it's going to be filling out a bunch of freaking spreadsheets, or maybe it's putting something. Bastard. Oh, fuck it, if you're doing it. Okay. All right. This is going officially up on video. We might as well fucking have some fun. All right.
I didn't wear a hoodie because I thought we weren't supposed to.
Oh, that's going to be over the internet tonight, isn't it?
There's memes being made as we speak.
Oh my God, yeah. I don't actually have, I love the hoodie thing. I actually don't have a problem with my hoodie. I wear the damn things all the time.
Oh, they're so comfy.
Pisses me off. I mean, today, there's another dumbass, freaking Forbes. Welcome to Forbes. Bloody Wombles from Forbes posting again online with the default, like, hooded figure, hunched over the computer. I think he had the Forks mask on it. And I'm like, quit that shit.
Matrix?
You know, no, there wasn't. Actually, you know what? There might have been. I think there was a Chinese one with like a Chinese red colored matrix behind it the other week. I'm like, you bunch of assholes.
Don't forget your gloves. It's so easy to type with your gloves on.
I just want to find them. I literally, it's past tasering. At that point, I am going to tie you. My latest thing is like, I'm done with tasering. I'm like, I want the rabid tortoise. I want those big ass motherfucking damn tortoises they have on the Galapagos. I want 4 of those. And I literally want to tie these people to like 4 of those and send them in different directions. And I figured they're like several £100, like £400, £500, £600 each. They're going to tear you to pieces, but man, it's going to be slow and painful. That's it. That's what I want. I'm done with this normal shit.
Dude, I've never heard of that before. I'm getting a little scared.
No, it's good. They used to do it with horses. Genghis Khan days and all sorts of other things. I'm like, that's just too easy. It's too simple. It's over too quick. It's like, you're in pieces. No, fuck it. Tortoises.
Speaking of basics, I was just, you give this talk, right? I just gave this talk right before this, and I think I offended everybody on 2 points. One is the basics, and I'm kind of pissed off about it because it's the same message, right? And so it's like, what's wrong with us that our message doesn't seem to resonate to result in action, right? That's one.
Yeah.
And then I told them, I'm part of this central part of the country, right? Like from Minnesota, where I live, we protect everybody from Canada. You're welcome. That's one thing. And, all the way down to Texas, right? This part of the country that I see, they seem to make sense to me. I go out east and everybody seems mean to me. I go west and I can't make sense of it. And so I think being that this was ISC squared in San Diego tonight, I think I got them on 2 points because they wouldn't ask me any questions. And then once they started going, then they started asking all sorts of questions. But it was, it was a good talk. Hopefully they'll invite me back.
I think it comes down to the human. You hit it for 2 reasons. I think it's the human. We and especially the male human has a very fragile ego, let's be honest. And so if we're all in a room and you're talking, the fragile male ego, like, oh, I don't want to ask a question because I don't want to look like the dumbass in the room. I don't want to look like I don't know what. Somebody hit me up the other day with like ZTF, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, that's zero trust focus. I'm like, how the hell would I even know that, you dumbass? Speak English. And to me, I think that's part of it, is we don't want to put our hand up and go, hey, I'm asking it, but everybody else is freaking thinking it. What the hell are you on about? That's why I love doing conferences, like more women in the rooms and more women in the conferences, because they, for the most part, they don't have that same kind of fragile ego shit. They're like, yeah, we kind of want to know what the hell you're talking about. And then we got 10 other questions to ask you afterwards.
Well, so Chris,
yeah.
do you think maybe a little bit of it is the need that, like, I've kind of detected a vibe in the industry where there's a need to be smart. There's a fear of not knowing. And I don't know about you, but I don't know shit. I do the best I can do with what I got, with what I know in the moment. And then I call my friends for help because I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, any more so than I think anybody else does. Let's be honest. This, if you're really doing things, you're out on the edge, right? You're in that newer territory. You don't necessarily know how things are unfolding or about that specific nuance of that specific technology. I mean, my God, I can't keep up with every last version of this flavor, of that flavor, of the same damn thing repackaged, right? So
100%.
I think that plays into it a bit, I guess.
I think it plays into it huge. It's a huge thing. And maybe, and again, there's an argument to say us, the old folks who've been in this for a while, are probably almost worse. Because when we started in this industry, you kind of did know everything. Because number one, we are making shit up as we go along. But back then we were making everything up as we went along. And so it doesn't matter if you didn't know it because it didn't exist. You just made shit up.
Right.
And you kind of built to that specification of, I just made shit up. Yeah, we're going to make it work. Whereas these days, I mean, you've gone from this like little industry and it just went, and now it's, I think it's, to your point, it is much more a case of, I mean, I was doing it the other evening. I was putting together, there's one of the companies I'm doing some work for that's building a product on the hemp side of the world. So not the smoky fun stuff, but the other stuff that you can wear. And I guess you can wear the smoky stuff, and in worst case, you just set yourself on fire for 10 minutes. But this is the other stuff, and I'm building it on a chain architecture for a whole bunch of actually useful reasons. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I've built smart contracts. I'm like, I can't even remember how to put these fucking things together. So I'm going out on the net. I'm talking to a good friend of mine over at IBM, and I'm like, hey, help me figure this shit out, for crying out loud. I can remember this, and this. He's like, oh yeah, and you need A, B, C, and D. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, that ties into, and Evan talks about this a lot too, is just the willingness to share, right? Being willing to share with each other and to admit what we do and don't know, and to share what we do know and the experiences we have, because it's so hyper competitive, right? Everybody wants to be the one I found the 0 day, or I innovated the new, you know, automated piece of shit solution that I'm going to sell you for way too much money and it doesn't really work. Oh, and you got to hire 3 people. You know, I don't know. I just, that's what, you know, to quote the real old timers, that's the shit that grinds my gears.
Yeah.
The shit that grinds your gears.
But it's true. I mean, it is freaking true. I think, you know, the other one you hit on that one. I was out at RSA before they locked all the shit down. And I'm at a really good, I'm hanging out with Ori and the guys over at True Sonar and Abnegale, and it was freaking awesome, great time. And what they've done on the identity management stuff is kind of fun. But there was a guy that stood up there and he's like, well, you know, I saw this and I saw this and I saw this and I didn't like it. So I built my own. I'm like, WTF? He works for a big company, big insurance company. So it's not as if he's going to be an entrepreneur that's going to build up, you know, the 25th identity management solution company that's out there. You know, and why not just have another one? But he actually works inside a company. So rather than tapping, you know, one of these guys or somebody on the shoulder and saying, hey, look, I kind of like what you do, but I really want you to do something different. And I'm willing to throw a couple of million at you because I don't want to build my own shit. And I would love to partner with you and help develop it further. He just went off and built his own because he wanted his label on it. I'm like, quit the ego shit. Just, you know, stop it. Collaborate more. Maybe put some time and effort into one of the good solutions or one of the half-assed solutions and build it the way you know, build it that way. It's just build it for the good of everybody rather than just for your one freaking piecemeal solution. It's dumbasses.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I was making the case, you know, today with these San Diego folks on at what point do we, you know, commoditize some of this shit? You know what I mean? Commoditize risk assessments, for instance, right? A risk assessment should be something that everybody does. We should agree that everybody should do it. So let's agree on one way to do it. You know what I mean? If there was one good way to do an information security risk assessment, I think I'd be remiss to not shut down what we do at Security Studio, or at least not align with it, because it's counter to, I mean, it's the mission to fix the broken industry, to make sense of all this shit, to put risk in the context, right?
I think Ron's tried to do some of that with like the NIST stuff. So I see NIST now getting taken to the DevSecOps stuff. And I actually have some love. So just the standard computer security framework stuff, I've got some love for that because there are a lot of folks using it, but there are still more folks than I care to know of, have no freaking clue about it. And then if you're like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of easy. Let me go to 800.53 and you go, oh shit, how do I know? I'm too busy, too crazy. And and then, you know, Nickerson and Eric and the crew and a whole bunch of folks put the P-TES framework together for doing security testing. And again, a lot of love for that one because I really like how it was put together. So you've almost got two really good pillars, but then everybody else comes out with 25 other different freaking ways of doing it. And it's like, to your point, it's like, can we just agree upon one? It's like the rants I put up on LinkedIn yesterday about, you know, webinars and shit like that. I'm like, hang on. So today I'm on, you know, I've got Google Hangouts and I've got this and I've got Zoom and I've got this and I got this and I got, and every single one of them comes to some fucking browser because I fire off Google and it tells me to piss off. It doesn't want to use Opera. So I have to fire up Firefox to use that. and Teams is a challenge, so I have to use Safari for that. I refuse to put Cisco on my computer because it's a fucking polymorph Trojan. So I have to fire up a virtual machine to run that I can blow away afterwards.
Right.
It's just, again, choose one for God's sake. So let's stick to it.
Hey, one of the things you wanted, in one of our emails back and forth this week, you were talking about maybe making the topic for this shit show, the first ever shit show. The first ever shit show. Face.
Hang on. We got some messages coming in. I just actually logged into the whatever the hell it is. YouTube.
Oh, yeah, we should probably keep an eye on that, huh?
Apparently nobody can hear us. Hang on.
No, I switched them. I switched.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Splendid.
It turns out, I'm winging it's kind of my thing.
Oh, welcome to all of us. I like this. This is how it should be. This is the first for crying out. Oh, actually, let me put a comment in it. Am I logged in as somebody?
Uh-oh, you did fish somebody.
It actually comes up as me. That's even scarier. I actually am logged in as me at somewhere.
You know you're good at fishing when you fish somebody without knowing you actually fish somebody. Hey, do you remember the time? Actually, Ryan, you weren't with us yet.
Hey, which link? Wait, 1 second. Which link are you using? Because when I just went to the link in the email, I'm not seeing nothing.
No. We got this.
All
Go
right.
back to talking. I'm monitoring this, man. I'm like a tech guy.
Good, because mine still says waiting for the security shit show.
There we go.
Do you remember the time? Yeah. Use the link.
Use the link in the chat.
See the link I put in the chat?
Hang on, there's a chat. There it is. Which chat? This chat? I'm in the chat. It didn't show me a link unless I'm going mad.
See, it wouldn't be a shit show without a tech issue.
How many years do we have between us and we can't figure this shit out?
Well, they keep changing it.
Yeah, exactly. It was just one more fucking tool to keep track of.
As soon as I figured it out, they add a new feature or a new button.
So I clicked on the link that I put in the LinkedIn. I clicked the link that I put in the LinkedIn. Is that did I put the wrong freaking link in there?
No.
It is okay.
That'll take you to the thing that we were supposed to do the live. But then if you go to the chat on that one, I pointed everybody back to the real one.
Oh, splendid. Okay, that's good. I
So-
just opened up more freaking browsers. I have no clue what I'm doing. I give up. Fuck it.
That's right.
So to prove the point we were just talking about, when you have 18 million different flipping things and tabs and settings, I mean, we've got to get better at this. I love, to your point, Chris, I love the frameworks, right? But I also love, one of the things that really I like about Evan as a person is the desire to simplify, to make this simpler, easier, more basic. We have to do it, right?
Simple's
Yeah.
your friend.
And now I'm interested, Chris, in how you groom your beard, because
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
as you can see, mine is not near as luxurious as your gentleman's.
Yeah. I got the sides going. I started doing them after RSA last year. I've always just had this one, and I started messing around with the sides, and like the sides are like all the way out here now. It's freaking crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, they just keep going.
That's good.
I just decided to grow those out, and then since we've been in lockdown, I haven't shaved the mustache. So now when I don't brush it off to the side, this thing is like full on walrus. It's just it's like it's just, it's down. It's awesome. I still haven't gotten decent stuff for this year.
Hey, look, see that B Gibb 2610? I think that's Brian Gibbs. He was in my ISC squared. He's a good friend. He's a good guy. He was in the ISC squared in San Diego. He was there too. So I just gave him a shout out.
Oh, there it is. It is in that place. Why the hell am I looking? Oh, there we go. Holy shit, that's us. Here, I better mute us.
Yeah.
No, hang on. What did I just do? Yeah, I'm going to get feedback. Oh, there we go. Splendid. All right, now I found the right one. And it's, oh God, there's a lag on it. It's kind of fun. All right, ignore me. This is good. I'm actually going to watch us as we talk.
We do the CISSP mentor program. live stream on Zoom, but we use a different, or not live stream on Zoom, live stream on YouTube, but we use a different app for it. But it is really weird when you're talking and then you see yourself talking 10 seconds after you just talked. And you're like,
Right.
the hell? It's already weird enough because I can't see anybody's like facial reactions.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a damn screen. But that just throws me all kind of weird.
Well, so Chris hasn't seen this, right? So Chris, right? You know, all three of us are presenters. We get up, we talk. It's a thing. There's etiquette to that. There's reading the room. There's whatever, right? Well, I don't have an audience, and this shit's driving me crazy. So what I did is I printed out my Lego figures.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Oh, that's brilliant.
Wait, you'll love this. Pro tip, put them directly above the camera. Watch this. So ladies and gentlemen, as I'm talking to you today.
Pro tip, love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Because I mean, we're the same way. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm fortunate. I got this big ass, like 49-inch widescreen here, the curved one. I got the laptop here in the other one. And depends on what mood I'm in, depends on where everything goes. So I can be sitting here like talking to the camera, which is like right here, but I'm looking all the way over here or over here. It's just like, yeah.
Yep, I do the same thing. I forget where the camera is. So hey, one of the things, Chris, you wanted to, I think in one of your emails, and I can't remember if this is true or not, but you mentioned accountability. Is that going to be a thing we were going to talk about?
Oh, yeah, I think we need to. I think we need to.
That might get us fired up.
Oh, we got to do this. We actually, we don't know if we have enough time to do this, but we can at least start on it.
Yeah.
One of the challenges and frustrations I have with most of this industry is the absolute, and part of this came about for some stuff I had to do the other night with finding somebody they went off running basically. And so I ended up using Snapchat, basically broke into their Snapchat account, dumped all the configs, dumped everything else, dumped their entire history and started running through it, and then realized unghosted them and all this kind of shit. So while I'm doing all of this, I'm looking at the amount of crap that Snapchat like takes on people and what it's doing with it and all this other kind, and the excuses they make, like, oh, we use this to help you make better choices. I'm like, fuck you. You're using this to sell to 10 other people so that they can sell more shit to. Anyway, all that aside, the frustration really was, we don't have any accountability in this. There is none in our industry, let alone all the apps and everything else that are out there. If I sell, I come up to you guys and I'm like, hey, I've got the latest and greatest piece of artificially intelligent, machine learning, augmented, fucking blockchain, antivirus software known to mankind. It's perfect.
Next gen?
Next gen. Oh, yeah, sorry, next gen AV. I forgot the marketing. And it's amazing. I mean, this thing smells trouble from a mile away. It locks your ass down tight and nothing will get in or nothing will get out, but you can still work 100%. And you're like, holy shit, that's absolutely amazing. And, the entire plethora of security research that we've tried to teach you for the last 20 years goes out of the window because it comes with a shiny purple light this year. All for the value price of $99 per year, per person, per seat. You're like, oh shit, I'm going to have this. And you put it on, and 2 months later, some arsehole from, out of Mongolia or frickin' New Zealand. We always have to blame New Zealand for something on one of these shows. Some arsehole adversary from New Zealand breaks in and steals all the shit. You don't come back to me and go, you bastard, your stuff didn't work.
Right.
You don't come back and wring my bloody neck and go, your shit smells as bad as everybody else's. Right. It didn't work. There's none of this. And I want to know why.
Well,
I think a lot of it's ignorance. I think people just don't even know, right? They've been conditioned, right? There's a whole thing about, and maybe this will be our topic next week. I want to talk about identity theft and just the racket bullshit that is, right? We've been conditioned to think that it's okay, that this is just the way it is, that, the herd mentality sits in, and we allow people to write shitty shit, and we allow people to market shitty shit, sell snake oil, and we just don't even know any better.
Well, I will say this. I have always been an advocate for the EULA being wrote in plain English. Tell me exactly what, why, how, right? We get these EULAs that are 18, 22 pages long, Nobody reads them. They consent to it. And so the company then takes the position, well, if you agreed, you consented to, in your instance of Snapchat, Chris, somebody said yes to that shit.
Yeah.
Because they were way unclear on what any of that meant. And especially when you start talking about, okay, age of consent for digital's 13. I don't know what 13-year-old you think has a brain in their head, but I have yet to meet one. So, and you throw all this tech gobbledygook at them. I mean, I'm one of the rare breeds, and I think you two are as well. I read the EULA.
Yeah.
So at least I know what I'm consenting to, right? I realize, and do I trade some privacy for convenience? Of course, we all do. Right?
Actually, I pay somebody to read those, man.
It really it just comes down to how much lube that they're going to basically you have to use with that EULA, isn't it? It's like, it's a Microsoft EULA. Oh, bring the 50 gallons of lube in. It's going to hurt, but it. So here's the challenge, and here's the question on a lot of this one. I guess first and foremost, what the hell do we do about it? Short of actually taking all the fucking lawyers that are working on that, doing a Kenny Everett, put him in a field and bomb the bastards, which I will be the one that does the carpet bomb on that one, to be perfectly honest. I don't know what we do. The uprising, I want somebody to go and set fire to Semantic's head office. I got to be honest. I want somebody to do that because they just got their ass handed to them because the Semantic didn't do what it said on the box. I want somebody to go down to Cupertino and kind of burn most of Cupertino to the ground, because every damn week we got Microsoft having to patch more shit. Apple goes, whoops, hey, we thought about this. And half the tech companies go, that would have been really good if we'd have coded that shit properly. Fucking burn them down. Because that's my question is, what is it going to take for somebody to do that? Because we can't turn around and say, well, we're not going to use Microsoft. Well, we have alternatives, let's be perfectly honest, but everybody's still going to go the herd mentality. Everybody's still going to go there because you have to use this because it has these 10 other stacks on top of it. And there's one of the teams I'm going through now with at the moment on some MSSP stuff. We just went through the entire CrowdStrike, or ClownStrike to be perfectly honest. We went through the ClownStrike's end user agreement, and it sucks. I mean, this thing is nasty as shit.
ClownStrike.
Well, here's my thought on that, right? So how have we done everything else? I think about like drunk driving. So if you're from the 70s, if you know anything about the 70s, it was law that you had to have the baby in your lap in the front seat while smoking a cigarette while driving the car with no seatbelts. That was mandatory, right? Windows rolled all the way up.
With a bud in one hand as well. Exactly,
right? Yeah. So right, and a loaded gun on the dash.
There we go. Exactly. There we go. That's it.
And if you weren't doing that, you weren't living. And what did they do? They spent 25 years putting smashed up cars in front of high schools, saying, "Don't do this. Don't drink and drive." Mothers Against Drunk Driving went on a massive campaign where there was the TV commercials, right? There was all this stuff. And to this day, we still do it, right? There's still the Stay Sober campaigns, and you'll see that on the highways. And we did that, and we had a measurable impact on the reduction of drunk driving because we made it personal and we made it touch people at home. And I think the challenge of our industry is to make it personal and touch them at home, because we keep trying to train them at work. We keep trying to, scare them with the boogeyman going to get their kids, which is a true thing. Yeah. But we focus on it so hard that we skip over everything else. We skip over the prescription drug stuff. We skip over the basic fraud and scam. My sister-in-law just sent $25,000 to this guy. Yeah. What? What? Why? Well, because he asked for it.
But we've oversold fear, uncertainty, and doubt, man.
That absolutely we have.
They've completely tuned us out,
right?
And they used it for selling shit as opposed to, the boy who cried wolf thing.
Yeah, that's it. We've rather than getting the message across on how people, because in the end of the day, when you think about it, we've all been victims of either identity theft, credit card theft, and a bunch of other stuff. every single year, the IRS sends me a little PIN number. It's like, hi, this is your PIN number for filing your taxes because we lost all your shit a few years ago. Sorry. And then, OPM's like, whoops, sorry, we lost it all too. And, again, new credit card or a new debit card in the post on a fairly regular basis because somewhere or other the damn thing's been eaten by somebody's system. So it's affecting us, but unfortunately, it's not affecting us enough. And this is where I did a talk earlier this year, and it was all based off of Thanos. And I'm like, Thanos was right. I'm like, I'm sorry. Thanos came down, clicked his fingers, half of us died. We almost need to do that. Whatever it's going to take. I'm sorry. Somebody said to me, how do we cure like all the embedded tech in healthcare? I'm like, kill a few more people. And they're like, oh my God, that's terrible. I'm like, no, seriously. The only time you're going to take effect and the only time you are actually going to deal with this is when the bodies are stacked up. Mm-hmm. I'm like, because until it becomes, to your point, until it becomes personal, I go take your grandmother out and I whack her on the head. Now you're going to hate me. Well, great. If I whack your grandmother on the digital head and I kill her because I just stopped her pump working, now you might actually do something about it. You might actually go and burn the pump manufacturer down for a change. But if all I do is keep telling you, and that's that whole dichotomy. It's like, I don't think as humans, we are good at doing anything until somebody induces pain and suffering. And I don't want it to be that way. I actually would rather not kill more people than we already have. But I'm to Evan's point, we've cried wolf so many freaking times. Yeah. I don't know how to get through to people anymore. I just don't.
Well, I think maybe that's one of the frustrations I was sharing too, earlier when in all these talks, right? If people were, I rarely use fear in my talks, right? I don't think it's a good motivator because we've oversold it. So, but the frustration is it's the same damn talk, just a different flavor. I've just changed some things around, but it's the same damn talk I was given 10, 15 years ago. I'm trying to figure out what's the message that's going to resonate that is going to hit home before you have to suffer the real pain, right? When you have financial loss, the bank, they give you your money back.
Yeah.
Right.
When I have a privacy loss, I can't even, as a consumer, I can't even quantify what the hell that means. So privacy, yeah, okay, whatever. Everybody's already given up on that anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, big time. And that's where it's like, okay. And I've done a couple of things on the talks. I'll put a kettle up on the screen. I'm like, okay, how many of you remember when you were kids? Puts a hand up. And I'm like, okay, do you remember when your parents told you, don't touch it or don't pick it up, and because it's hot and it'll burn you? And 90x% of us went and touched the stupid thing. Because we're like, oh, thanks for the parents. Yeah, great. I understand what you say. Touch. God damn it, that hurt like hell. Schlag. Stop swearing, little Johnny. It's. But that's. I want to understand, and this is, this would be one of those things. Again, security has for a long time. I wouldn't say we've operated on our own, but we haven't done a good job of. We've brought some people from outside the industry. But this, I almost want to go, those people that did all of the weird degrees, like the humanity degree and all the shit that you're like, what the hell use is that? I'm sitting there going, we actually need some of those people in here, because I don't understand enough about how to get through. One of the questions on here is, Jason was saying, he's like, the issue is we hit a small demographic, and he's completely right. The biggest post I've ever done on LinkedIn was like 450,000 people. And like, holy shit, that's a lot of people, but it's not. When you consider there are 300 million on LinkedIn, and even 300 million is a freaking drop in the ocean to the 7.5 billion that we have on the planet. It's like, how do you affect change? And you affect change by hitting the biggest number possible. So, do I have to cause pain and suffering to half of the planet before it wakes up? Or can I demonstrate something? A digital version of don't touch the kettle because it's hot, where almost everybody actually goes, oh shit, I get it now.
So actually, Chris, I love this, and we should collab. I'm working on something called the Digital Birds and Bees.
Did you just say collab? That's like Gen X.
Yeah, man, I got buzzwords and shit, yo. I got. Look, man, we should totally do this. So I landed on this.
4 syllables.
So working in schools, right? My eyes were kind of opened to a different way of seeing the world. And I started to realize that like, this is a life skill. This is, if you're going to navigate 2020, this is a foundational pillar life skill, like not touching a hot stove, like looking both ways across the street, like washing your fucking hands. Yeah. Right. And then I said, well, wait a second. What do mom and dad need to know? Well, they need the digital birds and bees because they're kids that, you know, you've got a teenage daughter, online dating. Holy shit. What a train wreck. Right. Yeah. Dick pic galore. I mean, that wasn't a thing. Remember, as a society, we said a long time ago, whipping it out in public, frowned upon. Don't do it. And then along came the smartphone.
Well, now you tell me. Thanks.
I was just thinking that in the back of my head. I'm like,
right? But all of a sudden, dick pics are a thing.
Are a thing, yeah, exactly.
Right. So,
and especially to the kids as well. That's the get the fuck out of here moment.
Right. It's you know, and those I think are the ways that we need to start to reshape how we're thinking and start to help train these folks up in life skills, in things they already understand. Safety. They don't get security.
It's
they
safety,
don't care, right? Safety. You know, to the point of you having to track somebody down.
Well, that's the third point, right? So what things do I suffer from in information security as a consumer here in the United States, right? And you talk about demographics. I've always, you know, I refer to, you know, there's 900,000-ish security people in the United States. We write these articles and, you know, we write them for the normal people. I call them normal. And I don't mean that to offend them. It's good to be normal. Trust me.
Yeah.
You know, but we write these articles for the normal people, expecting them to read it. They don't.
Right.
We're not speaking their language. They don't really care. So what things would be that digital like pain thing that you're talking about? Would it be money? Maybe. Doesn't seem to work. Privacy? Not really. Identity theft? I don't know. Safety. That's the one. Because as a parent, you know, I have children myself, and I can recover. I have recovery plans. I can recover from financial, you know, loss. I can recover from privacy loss somewhat. You know, I can never, ever, ever get my daughter's innocence back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
But God forbid, and that shit's happening, you guys, and these things can't be separated. You cannot separate information security, privacy, and safety anymore. They are married together. So
100%. Everywhere we go, we count on digitally controlled safety mechanisms.
Right.
Yeah, and there. I mean, again, that's a problem that we've got, unfortunately, is we keep promising, hey, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, yet dick pics still appear, and yet, you know, so I love, you know, Hagnadi and the Innocent Lives Foundation and folks like that, because they're out there because so much other stuff has failed. I do like the idea of the kid stuff though. There's Sandor and a bunch of folks we're getting together next week, I think it is, at some crazy hour in the morning in my time. But we're actually going to sit and talk about how do we actually do some work with the kids side of it. And I'm totally up for that. I mean, if there's stuff I can help out with, consider me in on that one. Because I do, there is a part of me, I think, that looks at this generation and possibly the next one behind us, say, literally, we've got to get the hell out of here. We just have to get the hell out of here. And can we train that next generation effectively enough so that they will hopefully not make quite the same mistakes we do? But then I balance that. I mean, Evan, to your point, I mean, I look at my daughter and my view on privacy is very different than hers. She's like, oh, you know, I actually want somebody to help me understand the right jeans to look for, or the right top, or the right sweatshirt, or whatever to look for. I want that. I'm like, okay, I get that. But what happens if you go, I mean, she's, I don't know, whatever, a size 0, a size 2. What happens if you go from like a size 0 to a size 2 to a size 4, and all of a sudden you start getting ads for Weight Watchers, or you start getting ads, and she's like, well, that crosses the line. I'm like, okay, I get it. Now it crosses the line, but that's too late. You've already handed them all of your information. So what do you do about it to not bring it back? What do you do about it to not get to the point where you hand that over? And I don't know.
Well, I think there's a couple of things there. And I had a good conversation this morning with our CFO, because she's I'm not calling her old, but she's
too late. That holds Doug. Here's the
wow. Yeah, seriously. What do you, yeah.
So, what we were talking about, we've both been in tech for a long time, right? And when I started my first paid gig and paid, legally, I guess, was, you know,
There we go.
yeah, cleaning boot sector viruses off of Windows 3 machines, right? Uh, Thousands of them. It was crazy. But this generation, our generation, grew up. We didn't grow up with computers.
No.
I didn't grow up with any of this stuff. And either did all those people, all those normal people that are raising children today, they also didn't grow up with any of this stuff, right? So what's the right thing to teach my child? What's the wrong thing to teach my child? The default, if I don't know, is ignorance.
Yeah.
Hope that it goes away. Right? And it's not.
So then we get to the parents. Then it's not just teach to to the point, Ryan's point of like teaching the kids. Then it's like, okay, how do we enable the parents? How do we give parents or guardians enough useful information in a default English language, or pick a language you want to pick, but default, not geek. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
How do we give them enough decent, simple bullet points? And that's I don't know how we do it. I mean, that's
so I have a dream.
Go
all
for it.
right, I have this fantasy idea that if Gerber baby food can get an insurance form handed to a parent when their child is 2.5 hours old, we ought to be able to do the same. Think about all the papers and packets and all that you got at birth. Like if we start at birth, like, hey, you have a child, there's a digital identity. You now have a social security number. And there are steps you need to take to protect that child. Like if we could get that one pager given at the same time that they get the life insurance policies and buy the photo session packet. Do you guys remember this? Like maybe Evan, maybe your kids are a little bit older, but like when I had my kid, man, I got a marketing stack this thick before I left the hospital.
You're right. No, you're right.
So why in the hell we can't do that?
Well, and I think it's not one thing, right? This is a complex problem from multiple angles, right? I think that's a good idea. But I think another thing that I see over and over and over again, Bruce Snyder said it, back in the 90s. When I first saw it, it was like revolutionary to the way I thought about security. He said complexity is the enemy. The more complex you make something, the more difficult it is to secure. So the more complex I make my life at home, the more difficult it is to secure. The more apps I have on my phone, the more IoT shit I have in my house. All that stuff just continues to make it more and more difficult, right? So I think one of the things we somehow need to do is slow down just a little bit. And I don't know how to do it, but if we could just slow down, simplify life a little bit, enjoy some of the simple things, my God, it would go so far.
So, all right, can't disagree, but I am going to say we're going to lose that argument when you have a government that says the only way this country survives is if you go out and you spend more money on shit. Yeah. Which is basically what we're being told right now. We're basically being told, look, those of you that think you're healthy, get your ass out, restart the economy by spending shit, buying shit, and working on more stuff so that you can work more to buy more shit to put in your house to make you feel better because it'll stimulate the economy. So go buy more shit. So yeah, I mean, I got 3 Roombas running around the freaking house, for God's sakes. If I've got to do my part for the economy, I need to go buy another half a dozen apparently, and just one per freaking room, not one per level or some stuff.
I take it you don't have cats.
I got dogs, and yeah, no cats. No, they would be slippers at this point in time. I have dogs.
Yeah, my favorite little YouTube videos are when the Roomba goes, the cat pukes and the Roomba picks it up. Don't even. We had that one of the older. We got like 2 big dogs and 1 snack size one, and the snack size one, yeah, I had an accident in the house. Oh yeah, the Roomba picked it up. That is a shit show.
I was away at the time. I got the text messages and the calls and all the shit on that one, and it not pretty. I mean, literally, holy shit. But we digress because I mean, you're right. Don't get me wrong. Somebody actually hit me up on a LinkedIn post. They were like, "Well, simplify your life. Have one email address. Have one password." And I'm like, Okay, I'm going to argue with you, but I'm not going to argue with you because you're right. But unfortunately, the circumstances that I'm in, especially, is that there's no way that would ever work.
Well, it's not practical.
No, and you know, and the apps. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, you know, when you go and buy the new fridge because the one you've had for 20 years has broken down. I mean, not right now, but in 5 or 10 years' time, your only option is going to be the fridge that's the center of the home that's looking after all the other apps, that talks and communicates with the Nest system, and that basically has a conversation with Alexa, and they gang up on the microwave, you know, and you won't have a choice.
Yeah, we bought a new washer earlier this year.
Dumb TV anymore.
No, well, I mean, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, if I can think, first thing the TV wants to do is be connected to the internet. I'm like, go to hell.
Well, and who asked for Alexa on my TV? I didn't ask you to put that in there.
Oh shit! Are you seriously? They're putting Alexa?
Yeah. Oh yeah, embedded. Alexa embedded in the TV.
Oh, ow, no, bad, no,
Right.
no.
Now the good news, gentlemen, they still make safety pins. My TV doesn't need a microphone. Nah, I'm good.
Oh shit!
Yep.
Ow,
And it's growing in popularity because of the ease and convenience.
Oh.
Do you guys?
And that's part of it, right?
You guys remember when you were your dad's remote control?
Yes.
Yeah. Not only was my dad's remote control. This ages me. So, we used to have a stack of 50 pence pieces. 50 pence pieces, UK. And my job was to do two things. One, during the day or during the nighttime, was to put the 50 pence pieces in the electricity meter and then wind the handle, so we still have electricity. And then I actually have to go put them into the box for the television. Because we were in the military, we moved around so much that in the UK, you pay your television license. And in the military, what they ended up doing years ago was basically you gave a TV and you just put money in the box, and that was your TV license because you moved around so freaking often. Yeah, I wasn't just the freaking remote control. I was the keep the damn thing on license. That ages me, doesn't it? There we go.
Yeah. So we went from that to remote controls to now even going to find the remote control and push the button is too much.
Well, yeah, you just say, "Hey Alexa, where's my remote?" And then the remote says, "I'm over here." I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's the race to convenience that's caused, and we're skipping over common sense and creating catastrophe. I just saw somebody, Chris, you and I mutually follow on Twitter. They're working on Bluetooth locks right now.
Yes.
Which have exploded in popularity. Oh, I can give my friend a code to come and drop, here in Minnesota, it's all about leaving the walleye in the freezer for some reason. You gotta leave the house unlocked so, Jerry can, put the walleye in the freezer.
Oh my
right?
God. Yeah.
And, it's that kind of stuff. And I think if people, and this is what Evan really drew me to Evan was his desire to make people understand their risk.
You said it was the beard.
Well, I mean, listen, it gets sexier by the day. But what really drew me to him was his desire to make people understand their risk, because I don't think people get that a Bluetooth lock on your house means everybody has access. They wouldn't do it with a physical key because they understand that making 1,000 copies and randomly throwing them around the neighborhood isn't a good idea.
But they'll do it in the digital sense because there's no physical connect. I wonder again, back to the genre or back to the age or whatever else. There's no physical connection. It's that it's not tangible, because nobody's literally coming and smashing and grabbing. It's not tangible anymore.
Right.
It's like Render Man. So Render and I years ago did a whole bunch of research on Bluetooth adult sex toys. I mean, I'm literally, I got one. He sent me one in the post, and I opened this thing up, and I just burst out laughing. Like 10 minutes later, I got the freaking scanner on this thing. I'm messing around with it. Like 2 hours later, we're dropping maps up online of where we're finding these freaking sex toys in people's houses. And then all of a sudden, EFF was like, because especially when they went on the internet, now you have internet-enabled ones. EFF was like, don't fuck with those. That's actually classified, and we took our hands off as soon as that got, because that's actual classified as sexual abuse. if you hack one of those things, you are basically committing a sexual act against somebody, against
Sure.
their will.
Right.
And that's, I mean, holy shit, that's yeah. But people
Why?
are willing to put this shit on the internet.
Why in the fuck would I have to have internet connected sex toy? Are you shitting me?
No,
All right,
okay,
I'm gonna give you the number one use case actually, and Chris will relate to this: military relationships.
Oh hell yeah, exactly, perfect. The other one are the adventurous people. Render.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm on one plane, you're on another plane, and you can do two. Oh yeah, and I'm on the plane on the way home.
Think about chat roulette.
Oh yeah.
More impact.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm about ready to give up on civilization right now.
Do you want us to send you one? I mean, I got no problem.
I have a wife.
Did you give it?
I have a
seriously.
wife, and it's a healthy sex life. I'm happy.
What we need to do next time,
Evan,
we'll send him one.
Normal people you like to think are normal, turns out they're really fucking weird.
We need to send him one. We'll send him one for the next episode. Ryan, I'll open up our terminal server here. You come into my terminal server and take over his sex toy. It'll be fun. We'll do it up on live on screen.
My wife is going to get that box, and she's going to be like, what the hell is this?
Okay, I got one for you.
No. It was Chris and Ryan. And she's going
yeah, sure it was. So I had a buddy, he's a security guy, right? And he had an Alexa. And I said, man, why do you have this in your house? And this was in the early days of Alexa. And he says, well, I've got it because, I helped, vet their security for my company's app on it, blah, 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 right? So just on the app side, not on the actual device. And I said, oh. And when he left the room, I walked up and I whispered, hey, Alexa, order 55 gallons of KY jelly. Okay. And all of a sudden his wife goes, I don't know what you're planning and I don't know what you're thinking, but you better stop. and shit you not, for the next couple weeks, Amazon, once you give them a piece of data, so customers who search for this also searched for. And he calls me up, he goes, you're a fucking monster. I'm throwing this in the trash.
You're not a good friend, Ryan. That's not a good.
I'm a great friend. I saved him from an Alexa.
Oh my God.
Not helping. You're grounded.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh God, that's so much fun.
So I think, and honestly, I say that in jest, but if that happened to people, might wake up. Not suggesting anyone do that, by the way. No one watching should try that, or that is not an endorsement in any way, shape, or form.
I'm not going to tell you what I do in other people's houses. I don't know these people yet.
Lockpicks. I always carry my lockpicks with me. It's just, it's simpler, it's easier, and it's way more fun.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh,
so getting back to, you started with the software shit, right? So people create. Now, there's one thing to create shitty software, right? And there's another thing to create shitty software and market it like it's awesome software and fool somebody into buying it. So one is there's one liability there, and I think there's another. So then what would we do about that stuff? I think, does it come down to education, a combination of education, right? Educating people. I still believe in people. I still do. I just inherently do. I think we can get them still. I think we can still create better consumers. I still, make it fun, make it a game, something.
Well,
and so combination of that and regulation, because that's what it took in the car industry, right?
Well, here's a question. What happened to the Truth in Advertising and Accountability Act? Does it not apply to digital?
Apparently not. There's enough lawyers, apparently.
Right? Because I was pretty sure we had a law that said, you got to tell me what you're selling me, and it's got to be what you said it was going to be for the price you said it was. And how many times do we get a call that's like, oh, your licensing's out of whack after 1,100 emails verifying otherwise?
I don't think most of the, I would hazard a guess that about 96% of the information, IT, let alone the information security arena, hasn't even heard of that, let alone wants to deal with adhering to it. That's actually really freaking interesting.
Because we have a law that says you're not supposed to sell snake oil. So does it not apply to our industry? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, and I know neither of you two are, so we can't actually answer this. But it kind of chaps me a little bit to be like, wait a second. Because again, it's physical world versus digital world. We have all these tools and constructs for our physical realm that just don't apply in our digital realm.
So I'm not a lawyer, and the Holiday Inn Express down the road is closed because of COVID, so I'm fucked. Damn it.
That's an interesting one. That is an interesting one because you're right. I mean, aside from RSA, I mean, you've only got to go out to the bloody internet and go, give me the next endpoint, and how many of them are telling you they can stop vulnerabilities, they can contain an adversary or an attacker, there's absolutes. Our industry loves absolutes. They absolutely do. I will save you. I will fix you. I can stop this. And it's bullshit. That's an interesting one. I have not. That will be an interesting one. That might have to get dug into. That might be some homework for us between now and next week, is to try and actually dig into that. Yeah. And then go chuck it at EFF. But I like EFF too much. We need the snake oil lawyer. We basically need the ambulance chaser to go after this one. For whoever likes putting class action lawsuits together, right. We just give them a list of A, and they can work their way through Z, and we'll just tell them which ones to go basically to go do class actions.
Yeah, and if that law doesn't apply, I mean, we've all got political connections, right? We know people.
Yeah. I got Hillary's server. I don't know if that counts or not.
Nice. No, I'm already in it.
Splendid.
Yeah. Thanks for opening 3389 with single factor. It was
you just have to sometimes. It's just, you just got to give some people a chance. It's just got to be done.
Right. So,
yeah, I mean, there's enough. That would be an interesting one because, I mean, that's what pissed me off. I think, was it RSA or was it Black Hat? It was RSA where somebody put up the snake oil, the booth at RSA.
They had carnies. They had literal carnies and a cash grab.
Yeah.
Some guy was trying to give me a
dollar bills on the yeah.
Fuck.
I mean, it was the worst.
Pissed me off. And that was, I put a post out on that one, and I'm like, could you imagine taking some people who are not in our industry, who've lost their identity, and the bank didn't give them money back when they lost their accounts, and who got scammed, and they didn't get, their antivirus didn't fucking protect them, or, their endpoint, email shit didn't do what it was meant to do. Could you imagine taking these people round the floor of RSA and going, hey, this is the industry that's really taking care of you. We're here for you. We're here to look after you. I'm like, what a bunch of arseholes we are.
I love that analogy, because that's the same way we advise customers a lot, right? So you go to a hospital, and the hospital scores, we do our assessments on a scale of 300 to 850. And let's say you score a 450, right? And you don't act on it. You accept it, right? You're just like, oh, that's fine. It's like, no. Bullshit. Take it to the next patient that walks through that door.
Yeah.
And ask them if they're okay with a 450. Yeah. If they're okay, then fine. But the thing is, the person who's accepting risk isn't the person who's bearing the risk.
Right.
You know what would be useful, and I don't know, God knows how much trouble we get into doing it, and we break all sorts of NDAs, which are actually fun to break anyway. But imagine publishing, like making public the results of a risk assessment. Take Evan's view, the 300 to 850, which I love, by the way, because we all know those numbers. We have to live and die our lives by those numbers. Mm-hmm. So if as a human, I know a 450, I mean, I having gone through a couple of divorces and some other interesting shit, I know a 450 isn't pretty. I can maybe go down to the buy here, pay here lot, and I might be able to buy a car. But I sure as hell can't go to the Mercedes dealership and get my AMG, because they're just going to laugh me off the fucking lot. Yeah. But I would be really freaking interested if there was a way somehow of publicly take all the healthcare facilities and here's your ranking. I mean, we do it with healthcare professionals. If I want to go into that hospital and I know Dr. Smith is going to be operating on me, I can go online and I can see how much malpractice Dr. Smith has had. I can see all this information about Dr. Smith and go, I don't actually want to use Dr. Smith because Dr. Smith's actually, killed more patients than he's cured. Give me Dr. Elizabeth over here, please, because I actually trust Dr. Elizabeth a little bit more because, yes, she's had malpractice, but she's been able to defend it and A, B, C, and D. I would be really interested to have that for like just companies. You walk into Target and Target's got a 550. Am I willing to have my credit card to Target with a score of 550? No, because they're not willing to give me a fucking store card at 550. Why the hell should I trust them?
Well, and I think you can actually do that in a way that you don't violate NDAs. I think there is a way to do that. I mean, that's part of what we're trying to do, right?
I wonder if there is. I mean, that would be.
If FICO can do it, I mean, you got FICO,
Right.
and then in Australia you've got the Equifax version of it, right? And their score goes to 1,000. I learned, or actually 1,200. I learned that trying to navigate with them, right? Different scale,
bloody colonials. I mean, I'm seriously, you buggers keep doing different things. Half you buggers drive on the wrong side of the road, and the other half of you ourselves apparently can't count to 1,000. You have to go to 1,200.
Right. But the point being is I think we can do it. What we got to do though is, and Evan touched on this earlier, what are we pushing on the politicians for? It's not better, cleaner, easier to read language in our agreements that we're making with these tech companies. It's not accountability for these tech companies. And, I hate to say it, but it's probably true. The insurance industry is about to give a paddling to every premium out there. All the cyber, they had their heyday where they sold coverage for less than they should have, that they made all these promises about what they'd cover, and those chickens came home to roost last year, didn't they? They came home to roost real hard.
Big time, yeah. And
everybody I know in the insurance industry is talking about a hard market, talking about premiums popping up hard. And while that sucks because there's that financial impact, I think it's part of what we've got to do to start to shift people over. Because what's going to happen? Well, if the cost for my insurance goes up, then the cost for my product goes up to my end consumer, right? Because who gets screwed in the end of the whole food chain? It's always the end consumer.
Always the
takes
consumer.
it on the chin, pays more at the counter, pays more at the shelf.
Don't bite into my topic next week. This is my topic next week.
Oh, good. Are we talking about PCI and how PCI is absolutely fucking useless because all it does is basically make you pay more money for goods?
That's Ryan's topic the week after.
Good. I actually like this. I really actually freaking, we might be onto something. Because if you put out a website and somehow or other using publicly available information, because again, there's a couple of people in there, there's enough of us out there that could put enough pieces. I mean, shit, we do OSINT for crying out loud. There's enough of us out there that could put the pieces of jigsaw together, or could take anonymous feeds in and filter out I don't like this company, therefore I hate them, therefore they suck, and actually get the more rational, like, hey, they actually went through PCI and they actually didn't lie on it and they did okay. All right, good. Right. I think there's enough. I wonder if there's enough movement or impetus to literally put up almost a credit scoring for companies out there, for healthcare, for finance, for retail, for restaurants and everything. Like, okay, this company you're just about to hand your credit card to, they're actually their ranking is worse than yours. So what does that mean to you as a human?
Here's what surprises me. Why isn't the financial industry taking a more vested interest in that?
There's no incentive for them to do it. No. They don't suffer the losses. Those losses get.
I suppose they just file it as insurance, and we end up footing the bill.
Well, no, I mean you've done the same thing. Having dealt with a whole bunch of breaches, the finance company, Wells Fargo or Chase is going to go to the breached company and say, this is what we validated as lost money. You owe us this. By the way, you don't have to pay us. We'll just take it out of whatever we settle with you at the end of every week. And so that they don't give a shit. They get all their money back.
Right.
No, all they want to do is give consumers enough confidence in the system that they'll continue to do business. That's it. The racket is that they don't want to stop status quo. I mean, truly, right? They're making plenty of money. Why would they want to change it?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's it. This is, all the fines and everything at the end of the day, the
fines are laughable.
Oh, it's, I mean,
The general public hears it as big numbers. That's what I love about those headlines. Oh, they paid 30 million. Oh, and what's their annual? Oh, 300 billion?
yeah.
They lost 30 million on freaking hand sanitizer and TP to reopen the, come on. I mean,
somebody was bitching and screaming about, oh my God, it wasn't fair that Google got fined like whatever it was, $1 billion or something in Europe. I'm like, let's just work the math out. And I think it worked out. I don't know what I did the math online. It was like maybe 1 day's of profit, and that was it. Yeah. I'm like, seriously? Fucking take a month's worth of profit on, and then let's see how they feel.
Right.
But yeah, I wonder if we could make something out of those numbers and do something online. I actually like that idea.
Absolutely. To borrow Ryan's word, we can collab.
That's so scary. That is just so scary. I need to go open another beer. This was the last. Those are the dregs of that beer.
Well, we're coming up. It's like it's 7 after 11. I don't know. I can talk forever, but
yeah. We need to save more stuff for next week, or we just keep talking through to next week, and we can just slice and dice this up.
Yeah, right. I think the keys, takeaways that I got anyway on the original sort of accountability thing is education. I think people are just ignorant. They don't. When we've talked to people, when we did our study, when we asked 1,000 people, 1,012. No, I call them normal people, and I never mean that to be offensive. Yeah. We asked them a bunch of objective questions. Objective questions. And the one open-ended question we asked them was, "What can we do to make your life better?" Right? Meaning security people. And then we did a word map. You may have all seen the word map, but the thing I like about word maps is you visually take the most common words and you make them the biggest.
Yeah.
Right? So I can visually see the one word that you told me was simple. That was the one that stood out far and beyond everything else. So it's our job to make if you're not going to make your life simpler, can I make security simpler? Maybe.
I like the number. I mean, there are two things I took out of this. One is I think we all talk the same way, which is it's safety, not security. You can't quantify security effectively, but I can quantify safety real nice. You live, dead, or unfortunately something in between.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do like this. I'm kind of mulling it in the back of the head. We all know how to break a risk down. I mean, Evan, for crying out loud, you've got the company behind the scenes, for goodness sakes, that does it. All we would have to do is basically feed information in on all the companies we know, on all the breaches. I've got all the breach information, feed them in, and then publicly go, hey, you're going to go shopping at, Abercrombie and Fitch, or you're going to go shopping here. They're only a 550. You trust that or not?
Well, and, we're always mission before money. And I'm saying it publicly because I've said it before.
Agreed.
If this became the thing, I'll give it up. The only reason why you keep control isn't to make money. It's not to get rich. The reason why you keep control is so somebody else doesn't fuck this up.
Yeah.
And it's not that I have all the answers. I just know where my heart's at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I think the accountability for me is the huge one, because we have little to none in our industry. I mean, for all the bravado of, burning down Symantec's head office or something like that, it does piss me off that every single person out there has been sold a bill of goods. You're like, hey, I can protect you. I can look after you. No, you can't. You don't stand a fucking chance. You just don't. And we've got to do something better. And maybe we start with our own industry. It's like, okay, if you're looking at these 6 security companies to go put endpoint on, here is their equivalent of a financial ranking based off of, the criteria that's already out there. You can choose that way. And by the way, the very company you're building it into, you got a ranking of 550. You put that one in that's ranked lower than you're not going to increase anything. You're not increasing your maturity. You're not decreasing risk. In fact, you're probably actually making things worse.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, getting people on the same page, simplifying it, making it easier for people to understand. I think that's one avenue. And then I think the other thing is, let's use the leverage that we can find or gather from a legal perspective, from a legislative perspective. I mean, do we know legislators that would champion our cause? Does anybody, listening or watching, do they know a legislator? It starts with conversations, right?
Yeah. I think if we put something together and actually got some groundswell and some traction on it and showed that it had the capability to make a difference, I think that's where, to me, I think that's with the legislation. I think what I like about it is I would always go to somebody and go, look, I don't just have an idea. I've actually done it. I've got blood, sweat, and tears into this. Here's where I see it makes a difference. Here's where I see it reduces risk. Here's where I see it protects, kids better or families better or educates better. What are you going to do with this? Go champion it. Put your name on it and go champion the damn thing. Or worst case scenario, we literally, we all have enough dirt on enough legislators. I'm sure there's ways of dealing with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is kind of a segue into next week, because one of the things I wanted to talk about next week was the identity theft racket. It's all a fucking racket.
Yeah.
And just call it what it is. The reason why it's a segue is because I'd taken this to one of our legislators about, this is what I think we need to do, right? And I kind of mapped it out, like, we got to get rid of social security numbers altogether. It's bullshit, right? I didn't ask for it, Anyway, I'm getting into what I'll talk about next week, but
I'm looking forward to it, because actually I want to hit that one pretty hard as well, because I put a post out, I chucked a post out on LinkedIn, and it's farming. That's basically what we are, a crop. It's as simple as that. We're not in the matrix, but we're like one step away from it. We are literally being farmed on a daily, weekly, monthly, hourly basis for our assets. And
well, it's real simple. I just did a local news story on this a couple days ago. Real simple. Here's the headline. Your data's worth money.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh my God. Most people don't know that. Most people are like, really? Here, how many times, Chris? How many times, Evan? Well, what would they want from me?
Oh God.
What could I have?
Yeah.
I've got nothing that they would want, right? I got nothing that they want.
I'm just so-and-so and such. What do I know? Oh,
Yeah.
But your brother's the head of the biological weapons research program.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, worst case scenario, I will just use you as a stepping stone and a blame point for everything I'm about to do.
Yep. Because, and I've said that to people hundreds of times, it isn't even necessarily about you. It might even be about somebody adjacent to you. Yeah. Who are you related to? Who are you friends with? Who's going to trust your email?
Well, the thing is this attack sequence, this fundamental attack sequence has always been that way. Always. Mm-hmm. From the very early days, right? It was find a vulnerability, compromise the vulnerability, elevate privileges, pivot, right? Until you find the shit you want. It's the same thing with human beings.
Correct. 100%.
Anyway. All right. Well, this was cool, you guys.
This was fun.
This was a ton of fun. Yeah.
Well, once we got the tech issues that Ryan caused out of the way.
100% my fault. I take full responsibility. I was busy putting Legos together. I didn't have time to deal with tech.
Smart move. I just need to, are we keeping the same link? Because if we're keeping the same link, I'll put the right link out on this one.
I'm not sure how that works yet.
All right, we'll figure it out next week.
Yeah, I should do some QA and test, but I don't like
to. We'll figure shit out as we put it live.
Why do
people
that?
Will find
Why
us.
Test anything?
Yeah, people will find it.
Yeah, we just tell other people to test.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Find us. Yeah. We're out there somewhere. We have no clue where we are. We've had drinks or soda in the case.
We'll find somewhere.
Yeah, we're out there somewhere. Yeah, this is fantastic. Thank you a freaking ton for putting this together and actually for taking the impetus. I seriously appreciate it.
Oh man, no, this is what we do. So thank you for being here and being part of it.
Well, this is therapy for me. For me, when I talk to somebody that I respect as much as as much as I respect you, and I don't respect your fame, I respect you because you make logical sense. You know your shit. Mm-hmm.
The fame stuff it actually scares the hell out of me. I don't even think about it and I don't like it. It's one of those when everybody says, hey, I'm just me. That's it. I'm me. I shit the same way everybody does. It smells the same way everybody does. And I cuss and I piss and I get off with everybody. I'm just me. That's all I am.
But I think that's why we have a good connection, right? Because man, I dig your shit. I dig what you have to say. It makes sense to me. It's something that I think together, you and I have had talks before. What do we want to do? We want to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Make people's lives better. I hate people taking advantage of other people. That's the only thing in the world I really hate. So, us working together, doing shit like this, man, it's going to be fun. And next week's going to be better than this one.
I'm looking forward to this. I saw that there was a message on the LinkedIn post I put out that was like, oh God, they're letting Ryan off the leash. And I'm like, yes, it's just, I love the fact this is what it's all about. This is good.
I mean, look, we all walk a fine line in our jobs because we have to, because that's the way it works.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I do this work because I give a shit.
Yeah.
Because I want people, and this is the same reason. It's why I like you, Chris. It's why I like you, Evan. It's what drew me to you. To Evan's point, I don't really give a shit about fame. I don't give a shit about your fame. I don't give a shit about my fame. It doesn't matter, right? I don't care. If I could get away with a brown paper bag and the name, this guy, so be it. The message is what matters. And you can tell, man, I got a passion for this stuff, like in a really fiery preacher kind of way. And it just is, it's because I raised a kid who had to deal with this digital bullshit. I have a dad who got his first smartphone. By the way, may have been the cause of COVID. I apologize in advance. I didn't know giving my dad a smartphone would make the fucking apocalypse happen. My bad, everybody, my bad. But and the first talk to text message I got from him was one of the best texts ever, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate the people that took time tonight to listen to us ramble on about stuff. And
there's some fantastic conversation. I've been
let us
watching
know
that flow,
too.
It's awesome.
If you want to hear us, pick something apart or think about something, tell us what it is.
Yeah, it's just going to get better. I haven't even gotten started yet. I mean, when I get fired up, I'm going to actually start a fire.
I'm loving the garage. I'm seriously digging the garage. I want to come and hang out. I want the garage. I'll go in the whiskey room. Next week I'll be in the whiskey room. Nice. It's about the best I can do. Or outside. I'll take one of the dogs with me outside and we'll go hang out and maybe go chase the neighbors around.
Yeah, I love your dogs, man.
Yeah. Believe me too.
All right. You guys have a great night.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody.
Awesome.
Take care, everybody. Everybody online listening, thank you very, very much as well. Evan, yeah, you guys rock. Thank you, Ryan. This is special. Thank you, guys.
Of course, man. I love all you guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you again next week.
Totally.
Bye.